Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Come on.
All right. Yeah, loving it.
Yo.
Yeah.
Peace for
Fire
30-second
intro.
countdown.
Good evening, Rudy.
All right. So
Yo.
let's tried something new there. Yeah. Who dropped that? Matt dropped that. Okay. So we'll be back. Matt will be back in a second. Welcome, everybody. Arsenal Fan Circle. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome here. I thought it'd be good to bring a little bit of a musical, a rollicking intro. What may prove a contentious podcast today. We might be split today on some of this discussion here. So we have a newbie in here. I've seen Why Not around a lot of podcasts, but great to have you here. Why Not? Sentiment FC. Gary's here, of course. Good day.
Hello.
And Alex.
Yep. Alex.
Hope
BX.
BX Gunner. Ready. Rodgers out is trending because what Arsenal can do, Leicester can also do, and Nottingham Forest beat Arsenal in the FA Cup and followed that up with another win over Leicester.
Wow.
Both of the FA Cup holders in the last 2 years have been knocked out by Nottingham Forest.
Wow. They should go on and go win the FA Cup, Ed. Go Nottingham Forest.
I think they're in the quarterfinals now. Ready? Thanks for that epic intro. Love it. I hope we can follow up the enthusiasm with the music, Tony. What do you think?
I think we can do that. At least I can. I don't know about the other three of you.
Steve Denham is here. Mahir the legend.
Yo, cheeky monkey.
Right,
Tony.
Mahir, up the panel.
Yo.
Why not sentiment?
Why not? Yes.
You might.
What up? Why not sentiment?
Tony,
Shout out to everybody tuning in.
how's it going, big fella, Tony?
Steven.
Alex getting around on all of the call-outs. DWTT.
There you go.
Don't waste the trip, Gary.
There you go. Don't do it.
We know he's
No,
talking
no,
about
you
that.
do.
What is it, Gary?
We have more than enough time for that. Let's not rush it. Yeah.
Don't waste the trip, Gary, or don't waste the tweet. Both, right?
The trip and it's the trip, but yeah.
Evolved.
You waste a lot of trips. You pedal on that bike and you don't go anywhere.
It's supposed to extend my life a little bit. All right, so that's a trip I want to extend as much as I can. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
All right, welcome in, everybody. We know you have lots of choices in terms of podcasts. We know you have lots of choices in terms of football. We're going to try and keep tabs on the AFCON that's going on now. And as Arsenal fans, we want Mohamed Elneny to be champion of Africa later today.
Jeez.
I mean, Liverpool fans will say it's Salah, Gary, but it's really Elneny.
There's
Right?
Elneny.
Yeah, the truth.
It's Elneny. Come on.
He's the one who's going to give Salah the opportunity to express himself. We know Elneny's behind it. So we'll keep tabs
Ultimate creative midfielder.
We'll keep tabs on what's going on. Thanks everybody for joining us. What's cooking in your intro? The assembled
Looks
is
like
actually
you know what? Mane just missed a penalty kick. So
Oh, really?
to answer the assembled's question. This is actually part of StreamYard. They have provided the music, so that was part of the intro. StreamYard, top right hand corner, right there. You know, right beside my ear. So
That's right. Yeah.
Match
And
back.
third,
StreamYard have decided to add some music to our life, so we'll take advantage.
Hey, there you go. So
30
you know what?
second
You're helping
countdown.
out. You're helping out science, the science world, Steven. So there you go.
You only live once. My
Yes,
heart,
sir.
my lungs, and brain are no good to no one. Maybe medical science. There you go. Matt, welcome back in again, Matt.
Hi, yeah. And for some reason, my browser started saying I couldn't use my camera, so I don't know what happened there. So apologies, but I'm back. Hopefully, it won't happen again.
No problem. We will. We're going to be keeping tabs
Yes,
on
sir.
AFCON. We're going to be previewing the Premier League games this midweek. More games coming up. Maybe I haven't picked my upset choice yet, but we will get into it. I think Gary's leading by half a point. It's very close at the top, Gary.
Nice. That's
But
good.
I think we'll start off, Gary. I think we'll start off with Culture Club versus Social Club. So, Arsenal has been run like a social club for me. Members have been turning up, using the facilities, and not pulling their weight, Gary.
That is true. And no freeloaders. You got to come. They pay you. You got to at least play. So yeah. No, are we getting 100% out of everyone? No. Is that all on the players? I say no. But it is the nature of the beast, right? Everybody's part of this, and everybody has a part to play or to blame, depending on who you are. So yeah. No, I think we need a lot of we got a lot of passengers, and we need some people working for the cause, right? So that's kind of where I am with that.
So this is freestyle, and I'm maybe not ambushing, maybe not ambushing you, but Gary, do you broadly agree with everything that Arteta has done in terms of moving the players out?
I don't know.
Who would you want to have kept at the
Well, I
club?
just kind of feel like
I'm gonna ask all of you.
Yeah, no, I kind of feel, and we go back and forth on this one. I kind of feel like you got to get the best out of the players you do have, and when you don't, and then next thing you know, they're out the door. Then that sends a bad message to the next players that, may have a bad string of games or a bad month. That their futures are on the line as well, and that's not kind of what you want. You don't want to be known for that. I mean, everybody sees it.
Nope.
Everybody sees it, and and players see it as well. So you want to be a team that people want to come and play for your manager and your coach, give everything that they got, definitely. But I feel like you have to be a motivator as well as a manager, and I don't think we're getting that all the time. I mean, it can't be all the time. As soon as somebody's performances dip, that they're out. It seems like that, and they're good players with some good qualities. At some point, you can't just remove everybody, can you? I mean, that's not how most managers work. For me, anyways, I kind of feel like a lot of them will work with what they've got and get the best out of them because they will command some respect and expect some respect both ways, and that doesn't happen sometimes. So yeah, for me, I think I think there are some good players walking out the door. They could be used differently and get the best out of them, and we're not doing that. So now we're just gonna. I mean, what team goes in and says, you know what, we're going to replace all 25 players that if we have to, we'll replace all 25. And that's kind of where we seem to be. I mean, our starting 11 right now is what it's got 2 or 3 players from the time that he's been here. Everybody else is new. It's if you can afford it, makes sense, but it's not a long-term solution. Eventually, you're going to have to play. You're going to have to work with players that aren't necessarily your best friend.
Yeah. So Jeff Sue has asked the perfect question, and I had a bit of a haiku, Jeff, during the week, and maybe Gary, Tony, Matt, and Mahir do not agree with me on this one. I'm only trying to explain the way Arteta is thinking in this. And Jeff is asking, how is Xhaka still at the club? He's the first one who should have been kicked out. I definitely agree with you in terms of what he did with the shirt, with that incident.
Secret sex tapes of Arteta.
Yeah, but the only thing I can think of, Jeff, is that Arteta thinks about the unity of the group, and Xhaka has not stepped out of line in terms of the unity of the group. Players who have been gone in this club, Aubameyang and Guendouzi, are the ones who stepped out of line in terms of the unity of the whole group. I think Arteta believes Granit Xhaka still keeps the unity of the dressing room and is not a cancer in the dressing room. That's the only thing I can explain in terms of Xhaka. You know, Gary, I'll come. Which players would you have liked to have kept then?
I mean, I don't like using the word cancer, and I don't believe that's what's going on here. So I think that's kind of really harsh. I mean, when we were cheering on the FA Cup, we weren't saying players were cancers, and some of those players aren't here now. So I don't think that's it. Something has changed, and I don't think Arteta and Arsenal have managed it well. So that's kind of I don't. And to say Xhaka is he's not a model player, you know. I don't believe he's all Arsenal the way you say he is. He may be a leader in practice and stuff, but on the pitch, not so much, right? And that's when for me, that's when it counts. I don't care how good you are in practice, but when I look at you on the TV, no, that's not. I don't believe that's the way that a leader is supposed to respond to every situation. Seems to be like, oh, well, that's Xhaka for you. That's what he does for us. You know, he lets us down.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't.
Usual.
I don't think that's where you want to go. And I think we're losing games because of it. Right. We're losing games, and we're not getting our best players out there because the leadership is not where we want it to be. So now, so if that's what our leadership is, then I don't like that either.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say that that's a good a model. Here, you come into Arsenal. This is what I want you to look like, and you put a Xhaka up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Now,
he's not the model citizen for our club.
Well, but he's part of the leadership group. So Arteta thinks that he's part of this. You know, when you come to the team, you're going to talk to certain players. You're going to talk to Xhaka. You're going to talk to, Lacazette. For me, Lacazette is a model. Is what Arsenal would be, right? That's what I believe.
Yes. Lacazette. If we could have a Lacazette in midfield, have all of those attributes and combine them with.
Yeah. I mean, he's at the end of his day, so it's kind of hard to say
he's
that his
in the midfield,
the way we want him to
That's
be.
the problem.
But he is a professional when it comes to football, and he gives the team what it needs. I don't see that from some of the other players.
Gary, before I move on, give me a player that you would still like to see at the club.
That I would like to still see at the club.
That has played for Arsenal and you would like to still have them at the club and not be on loan.
Well, I mean, I always thought Saliba should have been here, for sure, definitely. I mean, I know he needs more playing time, but I kind of felt like he would have gotten it, and we would have been all the better for it. I think Maitland-Niles should have been here. We should have found a way to utilize him. I mean, I don't really think I guess I've gone through a lot of players, but I don't usually put Chambers in the list. But the versatility, and every time I see him play, I look at him and I look at Holding, and I'm like, we kept Holding. I don't, Chambers, when he's healthy, and that's been a problem, his availability has been really poor. And that's but Maitland-Niles, I feel like that's a one that we probably should have kept because if you're not going to utilize somebody like that, then what do you need depth for? Because you're not going to play it. You know what I mean? He gives you depth in multiple positions, and he is a young player. And I think I don't know. There's something not there as far as the manager not being as friendly with him as some of the other players. But I feel like he's given. I don't see what he's done compared to what Jacques has done, and said, you know what, I'm gonna keep somebody like a Jacques, but not a Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, that's baffling with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Let me go to Matt here and make Tony and Matt wait a little bit longer and soak it up, Tony and Matt. And there's going to be plenty to talk about here. Matt here.
Matt that places dinner order for his girlfriend last of the week.
Yeah, we'll get Matt's dinner order as well in there, Matt. Matt here. I know that you are anti Arteta. You're not afraid to say that. You're Arteta out.
No.
And
I'm Arteta out. I have been Arteta out since almost when he arrived. So that's maybe even before. The player I would have liked to keep is Guendouzi. Very talented. I like how Gary said Mainsley. Mainsley, our other problem with that is also he was promised. He was promised that he's going to have a place. Signed a new contract. And then guess what? he wasn't given that. And he has come out and said, I want to go somewhere where I'm loved. So all the best to Mainsley. I actually hope Roma sign Mainsley. My player would be, I was going to say Torreira and have a very different opinion than anybody. But I would also like to have Guendouzi. I mean, we need midfielders, as somebody did say. Midfield is the steam engine of the team, is where things happen mostly. And yeah, man, Guendouzi is much better than any of the other midfielders that we have, which we don't really have anybody. But I'm just saying, Guendouzi and like Partey. Would have liked to have Torreira. And Saliban definitely needs to be in the squad.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
And Tony, thank you, Mahir. I did a poll. 61% said they would like Saliba back, 28% Guendouzi, and 8% Torreira. So Saliba is winning by a country mile there. Tony, isn't this what we wanted though? Didn't we want Arsenal not to be a social club, not for players to turn up, have a good time, pick up their paycheck, and go home without any ambition? Arteta's come in there, identified the issues for as he feels they are, and move on certain players, almost to the point where we can hardly field, 15 or 16 players now.
Yeah, we're too thin. To me, he seems to pick out the young players, the discipline. It isn't even. He doesn't discipline them for what they do on the field, which I would do more. You get red cards, you give away penalties. He should be on the bench. He shouldn't be starting the next game for those. But to me, I want it sold any or loaned out any of the players except for Wozniak. He needed to go bye-bye. Now we only got 3 center backs, loaning out both Mari and selling Chambers or giving Chambers away, whatever ended up happening to him. You give away Niles, he can play anywhere on the pitch.
But
we're way too thin. We thinned out the squad too much.
Aren't these players?
The top 4 run we had is likely gone. Top 6 is likely gone, I think.
Aren't these players that need to be moved on, though, Tony?
Which players?
Chambers, Pablo Mari.
Has Chambers been given a chance?
Players.
Chambers did pretty good last year when he was given a chance.
Yeah, I mean, Cedric is there because they did sign them up for a 4-year contract, and Chambers had been there 8 years. It was more available to move Chambers on. Xhaka is giving Arteta special favor, says why not?
Sex tape.
Steve,
Picking Arteta's cone, yeah.
Well, finally, we're coming to Matt. Matt, what's your take on the whole thing? And I think a lot of Arsenal fans, myself included, was watching the Barca game today just to see if Aubameyang would turn up and score some goals.
Yeah, do you know what? I've got a bit of a balanced view on this. I don't disagree with some of the things that Gary and Riddy and Tony and yourself have said. I think, for me, an important thing to remember is that, in years gone by, we've had no-nonsense managers like George Graham who were kind of take no prisoners. You either turned up, put in a performance, or you didn't play. And we kind of moved to a kind of more European, kind of a bit more fluffy approach with Wenger. Gave players kind of... we have a go at Arteta for having favourites within the team, yet we don't pick up on Wenger doing exactly the same thing with Mesut Ozil, etc. We became almost the retired. We've had this ongoing joke at Arsenal about being the Chelsea pensioners, retirement home. Yeah. And we've been seen as a bit of a soft touch, and we have been a soft touch. We had a bloated squad for a long time. We had a lot of players who were troublesome. We didn't have a lot of squad harmony. I think there were some troublemakers within the squad. And I think Arteta, to be fair to him, has had quite a big job on his hand to clear out a lot of those players in quite a short period of time. Some of those were on very expensive long-term contracts. Some of them down tools at the first opportunity they got if they didn't like what the manager was doing. A bit of the Chelsea players approach where if I don't like the manager, I'm going to do my best to get him out of the club. So he's had a tough job. I don't agree with all of the things he's done. I think the fact that, I think we've had to get rid of the players we have. Players that went in the January window weren't getting games. They weren't playing. So let's shift them on. It wasn't so much that we got rid of them. It was more the timing. And I agree with what Gary said in the sense that there were some of those players or a couple of those players that I thought maybe we could have kept on or kept hold of until maybe summer, just to give us a little bit of squad depth and just give us a bit of cover, particularly those kind of versatile players like Chambers and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who were, multi-positional, would have given us a little bit of more comfort around those times where we pick up an injury or two, or, where Xhaka gets a silly red card, etc. Because it only takes one game and you got an injury or a red card or a suspension or something like that. So I don't disagree with Arteta and Edu's plan to get rid of these players. That's fine. We needed to clear them out. They weren't playing, but I think it was the timing of which they got rid of some of these players, and the decisions they made not to keep hold of versatile ones, at least until summer. Guendouzi, I see a lot of this, to be honest, on Twitter, and my personal opinion on this is forget the guy. He's talented. There's a lot of very talented players out there. There's a lot of talented players who have been through this club and have left through the back door. Yes, he's talented, but that isn't what is going to make you successful. You have to be the whole package, You have to be mature. You have to keep your head. And I know this is a complete contradiction to Arteta keeping Xhaka, so I'm well aware of this as I'm saying this. But he's petulant. He's immature. He's petulant. There's a recent clip of him kicking out at a wall, walking down the stadium tunnels, and he hasn't learned. He hasn't learned from that at all, and he hasn't grown up. So to me, why would I want to bring a player back who, yes, whilst he's talented, hasn't grown up, is probably going to give you the same problems that Xhaka gets in terms of getting a red card here and there and causing problems. He's not going to be great for squad harmony because he's going to be childish and throw a tantrum and cause problems. I don't think he's the answer to our issues. It would be a very short-term fix, and I don't think it would be the right thing to do. I think Saliba, I think personally that Arteta's done the right thing by getting Saliba out on loan, back in his home country. He's had some personal issues, I think, with losing his mum. It'd be easier for a player to be, especially a young player, being closer to home with his family, dealing with things like that. He's gone on to have a fantastic season. He's learned, he's grown as a player, and that's going to make him better when he comes back to us, which surely is the whole point of going out on loan. We had at the point he was with us at the beginning of the season, we had a very bloated, experienced kind of centre-back kind of backlog, which we don't have now. So it's a different position now. But he's going to come back to us at the end of this season a much, much better player. He's going to be much more experienced, and he's hopefully now going to be, fighting for those centre-back positions. So I think that's the right decision to make. I think the fact we're in a position where we're having to ask ourselves, should we bring Saliba back at this point? That comes down to Arteta maybe, not taking the right decisions in who he's let go in January, because we shouldn't be in a position where we're asking that question, because we should have enough cover at the back to not even ask that question in the first place. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. But I think overall Arteta's done a good job. I think he's certainly creating a no-nonsense culture, which we've wanted. People have moaned about that for years. He's doing that. Yes, he has to soften his approach and adapt it to certain players, but we can't, if you're trying to set a culture, you can't suddenly go soft on some players and allow some people to get away with it. You have to set a line, and if they don't meet that line, then, and I think a lot of the players that have gone, say, for example, Aubameyang and Ozil, it's been behavioural issues. If Aubameyang had come back and he'd have scored, 6 goals in 8 games, he would have carried on playing, no doubt. But it's just behavioural issues. So
for strikers,
you can't blame a manager for that, can you?
Yeah, for strikers, happiness is scoring goals. Scoring goals is happiness. I think I got to go to Gary. Gary, you might have disagreed with some of the things Matt.
No, Matt said it. Everything that he mentioned as far as Aubameyang, things, the reason why he's not around, and what reason why Guendouzi is not around, you can just go look at Xhaka and you can say the exact some of the same things there, and it's like, at least for me, those other 2 players have more talent than he does, and maybe talent isn't everything, but I believe it is something that we're lacking in certain spots. And
I think we're looking at it as fans, and rightly so, we're looking at it as fans. I think Arteta's got a whole different point of view on that. And I think I've only come to this realization this week. And I think he looks at it completely different. He looks at everything as the unity within the dressing room. He doesn't really care what goes on outside the dressing room. Arteta doesn't. So
obviously, because I can get 2 red cards in a season and still play, still be a part of the leadership group.
Yeah. And
but if I'm late multiple times, then I get my card.
No,
I get my armband taken away from me. So
sure,
for me, I can't. For me, it's gotta go. It's gotta be a plan that works for everybody, not just for the select few, right?
If Aubameyang was being sent off like Granit Xhaka, I'm sure Arteta would forgive him if he was doing everything else.
No.
I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that because I believe they're both doing things that are detrimental to the team, and only one of them is getting punished more than the other. When's the last time Xhaka got punished for anything?
As soon as Xhaka comes back from
he's never been punished. So
Gary, as soon as he comes back from suspension, if he's been suspended for a red card, or as soon as he's back from injury, he's straight back into the squad. Straight.
It's I mean, the Xhaka situation is a real conundrum because you try and explain and trying to justify and kind of rack your brains to kind of explain what Arteta's doing and what his plan is and how his approach that is. But then everything, when you go back to Xhaka, unravels all of that. Every time you try and explain something on how he's dealing with culture, attitude, behaviour, you can explain it for everybody else in the team. And you think, okay, great, I understand all that. But the Xhaka situation, it's just you cannot explain how the guy stood at the club, how he's held in such high regard, how he's still able to get away without being punished. I totally agree with you guys. You know, it's madness, really.
Yeah.
You can't explain it.
Let me get caught up in a few comments here, and I'm sure I'm getting a little bit lambasted because I'm trying to explain how Arteta is seeing things.
At some point, you're going to have to tell us exactly how you feel, not how Arteta feels.
I feel.
Exactly. No, you can tell us after you go through your things because I want to hear what you feel. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me exactly how you feel, because then I'll know where you stand.
Absolutely, and we do love that discourse, Gary. You especially love to drill down and understand how I'm thinking. Let's include the chat box here. Ray, there was unity
around the bush, but never
unity in the dressing room until Arteta got here. Now there seems to be divisions. I believe the unity were cliques assembled. There was cliques in the dressing room. And that was
they still are, and they always will be.
And when
I don't think they played for themselves. I don't think they played for the team. That's what I don't believe. When they were out on the pitch, I don't believe they played for the team. So, like, I believe there's a lot more unity out there on the pitch now, but I don't believe we played as a team, like where 11 guys were playing as one and supporting everybody. We still have some gaps there with people that don't, but I think we are better for that. But, I think where we aren't, I like to see, different players get an opportunity or new players come in. So, yeah.
So,
this is playing for each other when Wenger was here for me. So that's what I've seen. I see a lot of teams go out there, and if somebody falls down, the next person's either there to pick them up or there to recover for them. You know what I mean? I didn't see that for a while. We're starting to see a lot more of that now. So, Arteta has brought that here, or at least he's been able to find how to get that out of players.
Reddy has said it's been stupid red cards. Why not? Has always been here. I think the Assemble said, getting involved in the comments and we can see you. That's good stuff. Ray, honestly, don't give a toss when they're gone. They're gone. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Off you pop. That's Stephen, Tony. Stan would like Anders Limpar. Well, he's not out on loan right now. Maybe he could improve us coming back to the club. And maybe certain Santi Cazorla could help as well. Cancer killing our club is the ownership and their lack of accountability and decision making. And really,
starts at the head, right? Starts at the head.
And Reddy said the Leicester ownership was at the game today. The Leicester ownership was at the game.
They're always there.
How many games has Josh been at? You know what I mean? And the Cronkies are preparing for a Super Bowl next weekend as well.
Yeah, they've got bigger plans. They're playing in their
Bigger
home
plans.
stadium, Super Bowl. The world's watching. Arsenal, who?
Yeah, I know. We
Guys,
are.
can I ask a question?
Yep.
How much would it cost? How much would it cost for a plane if all of us, all our subscribers, all like Cannon Fod, our sister channels, how much would it cost to fly a plane over the Super Bowl with Arteta out?
You definitely get it out there if you did that. Yeah.
Hey, Sam,
Yo,
You know what? Most of the people in the stadium would be like, "What the world are they talking about?"
To be honest,
I know
Matt,
what
Yeah.
is Arteta? Who's Arteta?
Tony,
Mate,
During
in
the
the
Super Bowl, there's no
UK,
air traffic allowed over the stadium except for the
Yeah.
stupid fucking
No,
Boeing.
I was going to say, in the UK, you could get away with that because we had an issue where we had drones flying over airports and it took them about 2 weeks to try and get rid of them. In America, you'd have some American sniper up there shooting it down before it got anywhere near the stadium. That ain't going to happen. Get blown out of the sky.
let me get through a few more.
My goodness, trust in the process, yeah, guys. Trust in the process.
We'll pick back up with Granit Xhaka and try to explain that after a few more comments here. I
Do
said
we have to go to?
I'm
soccer
Arteta
again?
out ever since he suggested he could make Mustafi and Xhaka better players. But we did win an FA Cup. With Guendouzi as a headless chicken. Watch him. Exactly. Bring in, and Willian was my Arteta red flag.
Fair comment.
Guys, why is the
I wanna
volume so
know-
low?
I want to know what your deal breakers would be in terms of Arteta as well. My deal breaker would be if Saliba never came back to Arsenal and was sold. That would be my deal breaker. That's when I would turn on Arteta, I believe. When Pepe and Guendouzi get red
Hey, the
cards,
volume's
it's
super
excellent.
soft.
When Xhaka gets red cards, it's passion. When Pepe and Guendouzi get red cards, yeah, it's petulant.
No, I disagree with that because I don't think when Xhaka gets red cards, it is passion or labelled that. I think if you look across Twitter, you go across each of the channels that report it's stupidity.
Are you talking about Arteta? Because Arteta slapped him on the butt.
No. So if Xhaka
okay.
gets a red card,
Okay.
it's just stupidity, and he hasn't learned from his mistakes. It's not passion. There's no way it's passion, and I can't remember hearing or
It's a
seeing anybody say
WWE
that's
drop
passion.
kick. How is that passion?
It's not passion. It's just sheer stupidity in the fact he hasn't learned. From
You know,
his lessons.
you know what? He did us a favor because I don't think we win that match if he stays in. I don't think. I think they may have scored that goal if he doesn't put a leg in.
Volume
It's
is
be one-on-one with the goalkeeper, but
Super soft.
it's hard to believe that he stays in the match after that.
Me.
Giving up a goal, and then we stay on to
can barely
win
hear
it.
you guys.
We're sorry to draw it. To get something out of it.
Try and go back out and come back in, Mahir.
Okay.
I can hear everybody really quite loudly. I think. So.
Yeah, me
okay.
too. Guendouzi's one of them people where you grab hold his wall and beat his skull in.
Yes. Yeah, he's a kid, and you have. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has seen the clip that I saw on Twitter, but he came back down the tunnel after a game. He kicked out of the wall. Yeah, and you just think, come on. There's a difference between, okay, fine, you're going for a sliding tackle. It didn't go out all that well. It was a bit mistimed. You get a red card because, you've gone for it. Sometimes it happens and sometimes you make a mistake. Xhaka doesn't do that. He just hasn't got the ability to tackle and loses his head. Hasn't learned. It's not passion. It's just stupidity. Guendouzi is just, he's still a child. He's not learned and he's petulant, like that kick said everything. He kicks out, he lashes out. It's not controlled aggression. It's not controlled passion. He's lost his head. It's petulant and it's childish. And there's a difference. There's a very big difference.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think Arteta knows how to manage that type of player. Probably has never seen it because he's been on some decent squads where
Guendouzi
players
has
like
had
that
other
either.
coaches, Gary.
Yeah. And
Well,
they've said
no,
the
what
same
I'm
thing.
saying is
It's the same
Guendouzi
thing.
probably isn't a player that would get even chosen to come join a Wenger or a Pep or whoever the manager was when Arteta was at Everton. They just would not come in. And we, and like I said, he has some talent. Somebody's got to try to figure out whether or not they can get the best out of him. It's probably over and done now, right?
Do you think, Gary? Do you think he would be a Jurgen Klopp type player? Because as much as I don't like Jurgen Klopp per se, I do think he's a very good.
If he doesn't command any respect, if he doesn't respect Klopp, then he's gone. And like I said, he probably won't make it past the interview. Didn't you see him going in and talking to Klopp about playing some football, and then Klopp kind of probably listening to him going, I don't think he's going to work for me, right? Because you look at the players that the teams that we're chasing, right? The players that they have, they all kind of have something about them that's similar, and it's not necessarily the skill sets; it's everything, the way they play the game and all of that, right? And he probably just wouldn't fit in, right? Arteta, I think Arsenal took a risk on him. It didn't pan out, right? So
it happens with young players, Gary. You know, it'll either work out or it won't. And sometimes you'll take a risk, and the player will turn out. He'll mature. He'll get a clip around the ear roll for a couple of stupid mistakes, and he'll learn from it. You know, and then you've got a fantastic player on your hands. But sometimes that doesn't happen. And sometimes you get players like Guendouzi have all the talent in their locker, but just haven't got the mentality. And it takes them years and years and years to mature, or they never mature at all. And they go from club to club, and this is what he's doing. I mean, he's had other clubs before, like Ray's rightly mentioned. You know, he's had these problems elsewhere. You know, coaches have said that, you know, he's temperamental, he's petulant, and they've had real problems with him, and it's followed him. So he doesn't seem to be learning, and that's a big red flag.
Yeah. And can I just say, I think Guendouzi, out of any player that we have had or is on loan, is the most divisive amongst the fan base as well. I think it could be very, very close to 50-50 or 60-40. And each side will believe strongly that he's either a good player for us or a very, very bad player for us. And, he is thriving. He's doing well in the French league. But he wasn't great. In my opinion, he wasn't great for Arsenal.
And the last thing you need, Ray, is that, you know, we're all moaning about Xhaka getting red cards and doing stupid stuff. Are we really honestly saying as a fan base that we want Xhaka number 2? Is that really what we're saying? You know,
I always said I said it when when they paired them in the midfield. This is not going to work.
Yeah.
At least I said it in my head because Xhaka would do the same thing. He was guaranteed a yellow every time he played. At some point, he's going to run up somebody's back and get a yellow for no reason. And as soon as those two paired together, I saw the same thing from Guendouzi, and it was like, you know, that's where, for me, his leadership isn't working. His mentorship doesn't help the team because somebody that's supposed to look up to him and follow his lead and understand how the team needs to play and the games need to be, you know, how the games need to work. He's not a good person to follow a lead, right? You don't look at Xhaka and go, well, you know what, I can find this is what the coach wants me to do, right? He doesn't do that well, and it's hard for me to. He's not a leader in that sense. He's a leader. Like when I hear him speak, like I said multiple times, I'm like, damn, it sounds like what a leader should sound like when he's out there talking to the masses, right? But then he goes out and does stuff on the pitch, and I'm like, nah, it's got to go. It's got to be for me. It's got to be a total package because his talent isn't at that level for me. You know what I believe it's like it's going to be a catch-22. We're not going to get the leadership, but we're going to get hopefully better talent and maybe a little smarter footballer when he is replaced, if he is replaced, right? And so we're going to lose the leadership, but maybe we'll gain a better footballer.
What I would say to the people in chats, if you're having a discussion about Guendouzi, it is a very divisive subject. Just do it with class and do it with have a discussion, not an argument. That's what I would say. Aubameyang, I always said he should never have been kept for the future. He was signed to get the fans on side. Nothing to do with a smart signing for the future. Everyone knew what he was going to do. And I'm cautioning Liverpool fans who got Mo Salah right now. And if you give him a contract, I'm interested to see what happens there. Tony?
To me, Guendouzi, was he a problem under Emery? No.
He was played almost every game under Emery.
Did he win?
Wasn't his red card against Brighton under Emery, or was that under Arteta?
No, that was Arteta.
Was under Arteta.
Yep. Why not?
You interrupted me, Ray.
Well, I was going to continue with you, but I was going to get a comment in there as well. You know what I mean? Why not say now Guimaraes has left League On, Guendouzi is now the best midfielder in League On? Tony?
You go on, Guendouzi, under 17s France captain, under 19 captain, under 21 captain, under 23 captain. So there has to be some leadership in there. He's not just a petulant kid. Arteta didn't want to take time with him. He didn't want to take time with Niles. Niles missed the team meeting with a valid excuse. He gets put out of the team for 2 months after he was the best player for Arteta's first 7 games, key in our FA Cup run. Just the manager didn't want to take time with him.
Yeah.
I think there's a player there.
Definitely, there's talent. There's talent there, Tony. And why not? Why not? You know, we're differing here in the panel, and I see it in the chats as well. They're going to differ, and we're all just going to have our own opinion. But we are having a discussion about it. To your point, Tony, why not says under Emery, Guendouzi was our most effective midfielder. I don't know what is wrong with this club and fan base. Always want to push out good players and keep the mediocre, good, quiet ones. So why not? I would pose to you: is it best to keep talented players, but they have a really, really bad mentality and bad attitude?
Well, we just said how if you can look at a player and say they've got a bad mentality, you can attribute that also to Xhaka. So for me, I always have always been of the opinion that if he gave the same amount of attention to some of these players that are struggling at the squad and we're not seeing the best out of them, I would expect to see a similar response from them because their talents are a lot better, right? I feel like if the response to Pepe getting a red card was similar to the one that Xhaka got soon after that, remember he got slapped on the butt? Pepe got, in the media. I believe you would get more out of Pepe because he would highly believe you were on his side, all right? Not
That's
against
part
him.
of coaching.
Right?
He doesn't coach.
Everybody loves Matt. I don't know.
What can I say, Gary?
Everybody loves you, man.
Hey, look, everybody's got their fans here. Tony has become somewhat of a cult figure on this.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
These people they say deluded, right? There's deluded fans out
Hey,
there.
you leave my fans alone, Gary.
Gary, you're Lord, new face. So consider if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, come on. It's free content here.
Smash the likes, hit subscribe.
We're giving you some good entertainment. Smash the likes, hit the subscribe button, and if you dislike us, well, don't hit the dislike button.
Why
Just
not? It's an interaction. It counts the same.
No, Romario RVP had an edge. If he could manage the players properly, he'd realize different types of personalities.
Yeah, but I don't think Robin van Persie, yes, he had an edge to him, but a competitive winning edge. But I don't think he had a bad. I mean, we all know about how he left the club, but I don't think he falls in the same category. I don't ever remember Robin van Persie being a petulant, childish, problematic player in that respect. Yes, he was competitive, etc. That's fine. But I don't ever remember him being a Guendouzi type.
Jack was petulant.
Well, Jack Wilshere?
Yeah.
He had his issues, smoking. The old smoking issue. Yeah, he had his problems, for sure. But every club's going to have players like that. But I think what we're trying to do as a club is try to minimise and limit that. I think we're doing the right things because we're actually starting to try and set some standards, some clear standards. We're actually trying to buy a profile of player that, we're not just recruiting on talent alone. We're looking at the profile of the actual player's character. You now look at the likes of, Ramsdale, for example. That's a very clear example of where, as a club, we've really shifted our priorities. We're not just looking at how good they are as a footballer on the pitch. We're actually starting to look at their character and their personalities and what they bring in terms of leadership and character. So that's a really positive thing for me. And I think we should carry on doing that. I think summer, though, we still need to add a bit of bite, but we need controlled aggression and controlled passion. And people who are level-headed, have that passion, who can go out and grab a game by the scruff of the neck, but have the nous, have a bit of a brain about it and go about it the right way. Not doing the Xhaka and lunging in, you're getting red cards left, right, and centre.
Red cards, Tony. You might be able to tell me how many red cards for me. I'm not. I go to you because you're a stat guy, but I know you're not going to have that on the tip of your tongue, right? We had 3 alone in January. We had 1.
14 under Arteta.
How many this season? 4 at least that I can remember. We had Granit Xhaka away to Manchester City.
4, I think.
And that is something that needs to get tidied up as well. BX Gunner says, trying to understand Arteta will have you homeless and deranged. Well, I'm trying to understand. Hopefully I don't become homeless or deranged. Some of you might say I'm already deranged. But anyway, the Arsenal Luchador is here. Great to see him. Senior Xhaka eats dirty biscuits. So maybe not a fan of Granit Xhaka. Dan, I think he was caught trying to get a move to Barca when he was meant to be visiting his sick mother and getting tattoos. So,
Come on, guys.
Almost an Odin Wingy.
Oh, man.
That was a shocking move, by the way. I know you discussed this on the previous pod, but getting a flight out before the deal was actually been made, and then both clubs turning around and saying, "Huh? What are you doing? What are you doing in Spain?" Honestly, it cracked me up.
It's a family trip, he said.
But except he forgot his family.
And he was I believe he was at the gates. He was at the
I'm going on a family holiday, but forgot my entire family.
He took one of the stadium tours and snuck off. It was like knocking. It was just waiting at the door. Let me in. Sign the thing. Let me go.
Resamble said Bellerin, Ozil, Xhaka, and Mustafi only passed and made runs for each other. Pepe, Aubameyang, and Lacazette were another click. Yeah, there was certainly a click where
I don't know what I mean. For me, I don't know what you're seeing from Lacazette, but I don't think he was part of that. The click per se, like that.
He was with Aubameyang and
no, but I mean, what I believe Lacazette is to me like an Elneny. I know what levels he's going to give me.
Passed out on gas.
Yeah, I like I said, I kind of feel like we know what his levels are, and but he's always been professional in my eyes.
Yeah,
I mean
that's the difference.
That's not what you're talking about when you're talking about Aubameyang. Pepe, I don't know. Pepe is just, for me, I guess it's clueless as to what is going on, around him.
Pepe is the kind of player you just kind of want to shake him up and
go. Wake up! Look, we're trying to play football here. Come on.
You've got so much talent, and you need to realize that talent. God has given you talent. Somebody's given you talent.
When's the last time you've seen him smile with an Arsenal shirt on?
I haven't.
Can't blame him. He's not getting any games, is he?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel sorry for Lacazette in a way because he just happens to be friends with someone who is, he's all fun and games, but he was a problem at the club. And, like you say, Gary, Lacazette's been nothing but professional. He's put in a shift. I mean, he is given us 110% when he's played. Yes, he may not last 90 minutes. Yes, he may run out of gas, but he offers us something and he works bloody hard. So I've got no problem with Laka at all. He just happened to have been good friends with Aubameyang, who, we've all got friends who are probably a little bit troublesome.
Yeah,
hey, you can go that way, but not this way.
No one pointed at me, so I'm glad about that.
Definitely, I think that a new person comes to your company, they're going to help you be better. So you want to show them the ropes, and that's what Lacazette did for Aubameyang. And they were in the same position. Lacazette was actually a great team player because he was there 6 months before Aubameyang. He could have easily gotten the hump about it, but he didn't. He knuckled down, a consummate professional. I think Mark Green has hit the nail on the head here just for me as well. My hero, I'll go to you with this one. Mark said, let's be honest about Oba. He left for AFCON early, went partying, got COVID. It's such a laundry list here. Didn't play a game, went partying again, got pissed, had a fight with door security, and got sent home. Can't remember Xhaka doing that stuff. I mean, other than throwing the shirt to the pitch, which was really, really disrespectful. And for me, that should have been the point where Xhaka was gone, but he's not. Am I here?
Yeah, man. About this comment from Mark, I don't know. Is it defending? Are you like defending Xhaka and then going against Oba?
He's more coming down on Aubameyang's behavior. That we are probably we're probably best off shot of him.
Yeah, I did. Sorry. Sorry, guys. It's
All
just about Mark's comment. I just wanted to understand it fully because, yeah, man,
So-
heartbreaking circumstances. My heart's sore, guys. My heart's sore, man. Oba surely should be considered one of the greatest players in the Emirates era, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And along that group is like, you get the likes of Alexis Sanchez's and the warriors that actually want to win something for the club. And then we dispose of them for free. For free. 130 million, 140 million.
We actually,
Go to 160 for
if
free.
you want to be technical, we sent some money. He got paid off to leave. If you want to be technical about it,
Yeah.
7
Yeah,
million
and that's being
pounds.
technical about it as well.
7 million, right, Tony?
Yep.
So, Mahir, are you saying that Oba was already a significant part of the Emirates already, or he was on his way to doing that?
He was on his way to becoming one of the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely one of the greatest. If he had just kept up his form. And this clown of a manager of ours actually knew how to manage. We've discussed it so many times about man management. I sound like a broken record. But that is what is the most important in a company. Right? When you go and work for any company, any top company has such a solid structure. If you step out of line, like there are people to help you, as per se, get back in line. You know what I mean? They say, don't do this. It's gonna piss off management, and it's gonna make so and so angry, and then that's gonna go to the bosses. You're gonna get warnings, etc., etc. So don't do that, but instead do this. Maybe if you do it this way, you won't face. Maybe if you do it this way, like management might offer you actually more money because they can see your value. You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he's done that, Mahir. He was late to the North London derby. He was played again. He's been doing other bits and pieces. He was given quite a long run in the team. His form didn't pick up. He then continued to do stupid things, many of which we probably won't know about. It will never come out. We'll probably see a couple of things in the Amazon documentary when it comes that might give us a bit more information. But I think he's been given plenty of opportunity. I think the problem with Aubameyang is that you look at Dortmund, for example. We talk about Arteta and putting arm around players, but if the player's not willing to change and the player is going to continue to make those stupid mistakes and do those things, you can't. There has to be a line where you draw that line and say, look, well, I'm giving you playing time, I'm letting you play. I've given you a chance when you were late to the North London derby, etc., and times after that to keep playing and try and get you back into form. He's not done it. He did the same at Dortmund. Dortmund, fined him. They brought him back into the fray again. He kept doing stupid things and breaking club rules, and they got rid of him. He did exactly the same thing at Dortmund. My question would be, why did we go for a player with that kind of character in the first place? I think it stems down to that, because I think the signs were there in the first place.
I needed a goal scorer.
Well,
And we haven't done that.
we had differing factions, and Mahir, if you got to dip out for a little bit, just go and take care of what you got to do.
No, it's there's a fly flying around my area here.
Okay.
Sorry,
you need
guys.
one of those hats with some corks on it.
I need to put a fly trap. Maybe I need to put a fly trap actually. I don't know where I'm gonna get one at this late hour of the night.
And we must remember, it's warm there, right? You're in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah, it's about maybe it's 10 o'clock at night, but I'm sure it's at 25 degrees, 27, and that's warm. It's like, why do you think I have to flex? I have to flex a bit here,
Guns out, man.
I'd
Get the
say,
guns out, right?
Gary and Matt wearing the.
I'm wearing a jumper. There's no way it's 25 degrees here.
It's not hot here. I think the temperature when I went out it said 20 degrees, and not the good 20 degrees.
Yeah, the Fahrenheit. I think it's the Fahrenheit?
So
yeah, man.
That's a big problem. That's a big problem, by the way.
yeah, I know.
I missed that.
So
Flipping
the conversation why not is having that we're going to rely on Lacazette and Eddie to get us 15 goals
Yeah.
this season. 15 goals would be on the high end. I would ask for 8. I think we could get by with 8 goals from the striking department alone, and we can get.
And that's terrible. That
I
is
know.
terrible, man. That is terrible. That we're like, okay, if we can get another 5 goals from our striker this season, we're in good shape. What?
We're in good shape. What are you
5?
talking about?
5 in 17
What are you
games.
talking
Come
about,
on,
Wiz?
I mean.
It's going to be fine margins, guys. It's going to be fine margins for the
Yeah.
next 7
No,
games.
it is, but you know what? We did nothing to fix that. We
might
basically,
never
like you said, we punished ourselves by letting go the leading scorer in the team in terms of strikers, right? I mean, it's
And
crazy.
at 4,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
at 4 league goals. How many
And
cars?
he didn't play for 2 months.
Yeah.
He didn't play for 2 months, and he's still leading the striker group.
Are we just going off the Brighton incident only? How was Emery and how Sampaoli get results out of him in tow? I'm not just going off of only the Brighton game. I get it. I guess it was City, but he did get walked around in City. That 3-0 win when Arteta was Arteta's last game at City. You watched how bad it was. It was a good City side. It was an Arsenal side before we did some spring cleaning. Matt, do you remember when Wenger banned
Yeah,
Xhaka
I
from
do.
tackling?
Yeah,
That's when I realized Arsenal managers don't actually have a say who was brought after some of Wenger's signing Xhaka made no sense at all. Of course,
you know what's a fair point.
so annoying as well, Matt, when Wenger will tell us about all the players he could have gotten, you know, Conte being probably the main one. If we'd have had Conte instead of Granit Xhaka, where would we be right now?
Yo, we could have won. Maybe even we would have had a
Problem is, it's
title. I
not
would have
just
been
the,
able to
the problem is not just the Conte. It's gotta be part of the, like you said, the culture or the plan for the team. So you bring in a Conte and then you waste him, and then basically he either fits in or he decides he's done. Right? And that's the problem. It's gotta be, every piece has to fit in with the next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've got right. We're trying to get all the pieces to work together, and that's where we are. So that's why we're still, for me, think we're still 10 players away. Maybe, like I said, some maybe are out on loan, but we're still about 10 players away from where we want to be.
Yeah.
And
Considering
pieces have to work together. If they don't, like I think right now, if you look at the 6 players that they brought in, they all fit. They all fit. There is no like, all right, well, this isn't going to work when I bring.
they all
this
have
player.
a purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be it in the first team or be it from the bench. Even you would say maybe Tavares is the least performing if you were to pick out of the 6. But
he had a good streak of games, and
Yes,
that's what you want.
good.
Every once in a while, he's going to give you some games. We weren't, like I said, I think what he did was he got, for some reason, Tierney is healthier than he's ever been for us so far. And if that's what he's done, then that's what he's supposed to do, right? Tierney's sitting on the bench watching him play in those games where he was actually playing pretty well. It's probably mentally pushed, Tierney to play a lot better, and we've seen that from him, right? So that's what we want. We need that on the right back side. We need that everywhere, basically. But yeah, my hair's got like lots of noises coming from
he's
his.
swatting flies.
He said they were flies, but
That's a big fly.
They've got different kind of flies over there. Wildebeest flies. They got the horns and
guys,
everything.
I really apologize about tonight's stream, man. At least it made you guys laugh, because my heart's broken here, man.
Well,
Thinking
here.
about Arsenal.
I think somebody said, I think it was Press to Play, said we have 2 weeks and we got another few days to wait till a game. So, Tony, we missed you last Sunday, said Rudy.
Yeah, I missed everybody.
Yeah, you wanted to be here, no doubt, but you were doing a good deed, so you don't have to go into any detail on it. The Assemble said, Ray, no matter how you twist the conversation, and see, this is how I'm viewed. I'm the Arteta, what do you call it? Forgiver, the excuser. Conversation in Arteta's favor. Common sense says no. I, like everyone else, knows what they're seeing. And that's the thing, we have to. This club has to start showing us something to believe in, and I believe so far this season. I know Stan's in the comments here. Stan, we sort of agreed in terms of part 1 of the season, part 2, part 3. I would liken it to Star Wars. I always bring things back to Star Wars, Tony. The first part of the season was really good, like A New Hope. The second part was a little bit dodgy, like The Empire Strikes Back. And we don't know if we're going to have a Return of the Jedi from here till the end of the season, because we're getting to that point about 26 games, Stan, where we talked about the third part coming in. Definitely the second part was not as good as the first part. RVP left because the club.
The first part was good, Ray. We lost our first 3 matches.
Yeah, but then we recovered really,
That
really
didn't
well.
count, Tony. You remember?
Told you.
Oh, yeah.
Ray
That was-
logic or
that was
rainbow logic or
preseason.
whatever you want to call it. Scratch those 3 games from the season didn't start till the 4th game. Those were just preseason games, right? They didn't really count.
Gary, would you like to continue with the team we had for the first 3 games throughout the whole season? Or would you like to have the 6?
Silly question. Come on, move on. You know what? All that those first 3 games, what they proved is that we still needed a lot of depth, and we still need. All we've done in this window is basically fill that depth, right? So, tell me what doesn't make it make sense, as they say, right? It doesn't make any sense. You were weak. You showed how weak you were in depth in those first 3 games. So in the window, maybe we'll see if we can help out with that depth, right?
And
No,
well,
and push out even more players that
And hopefully, Gary, we're looking at the season from the point of view of we've gotten top 4, and we can look back with Lee at the points we dropped. But the first game, COVID hit, and I believe we were mistreated like no other side in the Premier League since.
Nope.
In terms of COVID. Go ahead.
They hate us for sure. They hate us. Yeah.
We had to play that game. Whereas
we finally get a piece of the pie, right? And they're like, nope. Guess what? The rules change now. Everybody, I'm sorry, it's Arsenal's fault, right? So now we're getting punished with, again. So
Samuel said, Liam Brady said the same, and that was 80. So in reality, Arsenal haven't changed. Yeah, I mean, that's the situation. I think I was listening to Alex over in Cannon Fodder or someone talking about this. Mid-80s, we were very bad, and that's when Liam Brady, the club didn't even try to convince Liam Brady to stay, and off he went to Juventus. Van Persie and Guendouzi have different upbringings and different people, which made Wenger a good manager. He was able to manage Wiltshire when he was spitting and punching taxi drivers and smoking. And that's the thing. I've always said this about Arteta. I think he's a good coach. I just don't think he's a very, very good manager.
And you know what? He's not supposed to be, which is the problem. And he doesn't have the right people in house to help
he's a good
him
coach?
there. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
And are you sure he's a good coach?
I think he knows what he wants to do, and we see it every time we see something good. I'm hoping that's what he's doing, right? Yeah, there you go. See, Tony, when you're out of character, it's like you know what? Just They want Tony, and right now they got Anthony.
They want Tonsky.
Tonsky, yeah.
They want Tonsky, and then we just got this Tony guy.
Hey, I had it on for a while.
Did you see him on Thursday night, Matt? He was just like,
yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I had a good chuckle.
You got to clean
What
those
you
things.
don't see, guys, is that Tony's actually wearing leather trousers.
No, nobody wants to see that. Tony, do not turn the camera, please. Ray, you're gonna have to cut him out if he does.
I'm gonna call the crew that love Tony-ettes.
The fans don't need to see that part of Tony.
Tony sexuals.
Oh man!
You just have that. Do you know that Friends episode where Ross gets into the leather trousers and the talc in the bathroom?
Talking better. Yeah, I still believe, as poor as former Oba was, he isn't the biggest problem in the last 4 months.
And it's not necessarily it's the biggest problem. It's the biggest problem for Arteta, and that's everything you say. You have to kind of caveat with it's Arteta doesn't want to deal with it. So you know what? He's not going to deal with it. Is he going about it probably wrong? Some would say yes. I think he could have done better, but I don't think he can because he doesn't know how. It's like asking some of these younger players to do certain things they've never done in their life. And then we're not supposed to get upset because we know they can't do it, right? Arteta's the same way. I mean, he's basically He's basically Saka and Martinelli. You know, everything that we, when they falter and they don't play the way we expect, we're like, well, because they're young. Guess what? Arteta's is the exact same way. He'll learn. Hopefully we get to see it because but we'll know soon enough if they're going to keep him or not. So
Sam Greenwood is here. Tony ready to his blows to the Terminator. I know I'm a little bit behind everybody here, but I do try to keep up in the comments as well. So Tony, I think why not? Sandman was talking about Granit Xhaka. Classic Granit Xhaka puts his hands up to the faces of Burnley players, gets himself sent off, and this is something that is infuriating, Tony, because we do have to live with this player at least for another 17.
We don't have to. We chose to. Arteta chose to.
If we have no power in it as fans, we don't like what we see from Granit Xhaka. We have to live with it.
Yeah, somebody can go out there with a crowbar, do a nasty character.
Hey,
what are you guys talking about? They just took contracts and just paid and ripped them up. So if they wanted to, they could. They don't want to.
And we're not advocating any kind of violence, Tony. Okay?
We aren't.
No, we renounce everything you're saying about violence towards Granit Xhaka. You can make your voice heard in the stadium. So you're clearly happy about Downing breaking club rules and going. I'm going to mute. My ear is going to be muted for a little bit. Because those wildebeests were getting noisy. All right, Granit Xhaka, Gary.
Are we still talking about him? What more do we want to talk about?
Let's talk about Arteta then.
Do we still talk about him too?
Any other comments in terms of Culture Club? I mean,
right. Just try to skip over our shitty window that we did.
The window is shitty.
Yeah, but we're not making. I think as with anything, and as with any debate, I think there's going to be points on both sides. There's going to be fairly accurate comments from both sides of the fence. So as always, it's somewhere generally down the middle, isn't it? But I think we're having a good old clear out. We're shifting some of the deadwood. We're shifting some of the troublesome players. We are creating a better culture at the club. Yes, we're not the finished products. There are mistakes or some decisions that are definitely questionable within the process, as we hate to keep saying that term. There are questionable things that have happened. I think with the larger picture, yes, we're heading in the right direction. But that doesn't mean you can't question the club and you can't question Arteta in some of the things that are happening right now. One of the things that I think with this window, as disappointing as it was to not get someone in, and we've all got our thoughts on that, and I think we definitely should have strengthened in key areas. The one thing I'm glad we haven't done is go out and make stupid, go out and buy a very average player for stupid money on long-term contracts. Or give someone like a Willian, we've not gone back and reverted to type and gone back to the Chelsea pensioners retirement fund. We haven't done that again. So I'm pleased that at least whilst we didn't get anyone in, we haven't gone back and made stupid financial decisions that are going to burden us. And at least then, in the summer, hopefully, fingers crossed, that we actually go out and spend that money. But,
you say that, but I definitely, are you saying there's not one player we could have brought in the January?
Oh, no, I don't disagree, Gary. I don't disagree. There are players out there that would have made a difference to this team. There were absolutely enough time before this season even started to have a very clear plan in place for this window, to know what players you were going to go after, and not just have a plan A, i.e. Vlahovic, but then have a real clear plan for a B or a C that were equally as good or good enough to go and put the money on the table. If your A player says no, you go straight to player B, slap your money on the table and take him back to the Emirates. But we didn't do that. And I always hear
here's the question. I always hear this. The reason why we didn't go for any other players is because if we show that we're spending a lot of money on Dusan, then we can't try to get a good deal for the next player or a different player in a totally different position at a totally different level, which that doesn't make any sense to me. All right. Dusan was the biggest free agent out there. He's going to cost a lot more than any midfielder we were going to look at. And I think midfielder would have been a nice pickup at this window.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand there were some, we
Wijnaldum.
probably could have got Bruno, but we didn't want to
Zakaria.
And Gary.
But there's got to be others, and there are other players, right? I mean, the one player that Liverpool didn't get because they couldn't finish the paperwork was a player I think we could have used, right?
Carvalho. Yeah. And
but
Mark has said, just to cheer us up, Vlahovic has just scored 15 minutes into his debut. And yeah.
That's what he does, right? That's what he does.
Thing. So Sam, you can come on anytime you want. Bring more balance to it. But I think it's quite balanced. It's probably 3-2 still here.
Well, Ray, you're not even saying anything. You're just basically piggybacking on Matt, right? Matt's got his own fan group now, so you're just like you're in the crowd with him, going, "Yeah, go ahead, Matt. You say it." Matt.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy for the four of you. The four of you have your own set of fans. I'm very happy for all of you to take the limelight. I'm just here. I'll turn on the lights at the beginning and turn them off.
Ray doesn't have any fans.
You're the guy with the prodder, like this prodding. Let's see, which way can we go here?
I found my niche in life to be a host of a podcast, and that's a good thing for me. December said, Sam, Ray has made Matt the face of his Arteta in charade. But Matt, you know better, don't you?
Do you know what? I just like to be fairly fair about things. I will happily criticise Arteta where things aren't right, and I'm not naive enough to look at the situation and go, he's not making mistakes, because he is. And there are things that you look at and you think that isn't right. The whole, getting rid of key versatile players in January and not bringing anyone in and leaving us with a lack of depth. That's poor, I think. I think, some of his decisions around, Pepe and not giving him minutes, not keeping him on the left-hand side when he was actually getting a good run of form in that position, and then suddenly hoiking him off and then never playing him again. That, to me, baffles me. We've needed him for rotation, and he's still not been brought back into the squad to get games. Baffles me. Xhaka, the fact he was given a contract extension and not got rid of, baffles me. So I'm not super pro Arteta. I like him. I think that he's moving us in the right direction, but he's making mistakes along the way, which you'd expect him to do for a young manager. Of course, that brings up questions about, should we have gone for a more experienced manager in the first place? That's definitely another debate for another day. But I think overall he's doing the right things. He's just, there are questions to be had. But ultimately he'll live and die by those decisions. But I'm also happy to praise him for where things are going right. So, I like to think I'm fairly fair and objective about things. But for me, he has to finish top 6 this season, because if he doesn't, you can't justify being out of 2 cup competitions, being left in the Premier League, not strengthening in January, and then finishing out of the top 6 when you had a chance for top 4 and still keep your job. So he's made, it's a risky strategy for me, but he's really got to do the business between now and the rest of the season to keep his job.
No excuses for me as well. I mean, I've talked about this season anywhere between 5th and 7th, but I'm tightening up that deadline because we're out of cups and we have only 17 games left. We do have a thin squad, but we do have many days between each game. And for me, Melvin asks, where's the red line that the owners, directors have drawn in respect to Arteta's performance in terms of months? I think in terms of performance, Melvin, if he gets into the Europa League, 6th place would be the minimum achievement for Arteta and the team. Anything above that would be a bonus, of course, but if he finishes 7th, he should be sacked. And there, I've said it. If he finishes 6th for me, I'm still having major concerns. We should really be fighting 4th or 5th this season. We have a Manchester United team that's not very good, and we have a Tottenham team equally not very good. And we can hold our own to those 2 teams. and West Ham, who I believe are going to be just outside of the top 6 as well. So
You're
for
forgetting
me,
another team there, Ray.
where's the line that you draw, Tony?
To me, it's top 4 or bust for me. No European football, out of the cup competitions for the first time since 89-90. So it's been 32 years since we're sitting here in January. No cup competitions. We heard it for decades. No European football. We can contest for the title. We were in 4th. Now we're in 6th. Didn't reinforce it all. Beat the teams we needed to beat. But we had to do business in the window. Instead, we thinned out an already thin squad. Now it's going to be harder. You got rid of 2 players that each can play 4 or 5 positions. What you need is somebody gets hurt. So to me, it's top 4 or bust. If we get into Europa, it's still not good enough. It needs to.
Gary?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. As just to clarify, I did say we would finish between 5th and 7th. I never said which one I wanted, but definitely right now the way we are, if he doesn't finish top 6, then he should be gone. And the only the fear I have is that he'll get his contract extended long before that time period. That's what scares me a little bit. Or he's already gotten it. That's the other part to this. He may have already gotten it. So,
You can still fire a manager. You can still fire a manager.
There's
Yeah,
some
but you have
weird,
to pay
the
him
weird
a money
loyalty
for
or just the visual aspects of things that the team does. So he needs to finish top 6. But you know what? Everything has to be perfect, right? It has to be too perfect, and we can't, the margins have always been thin, and now we're playing with a squad of we basically have I would say maybe 13 players that are part of Arteta's squad that he likes, and Sam is just putting in some.
Sam spam.
Yeah.
Sam spam, yeah.
He's spamming the comment section.
Yeah. I mean, we've got about 13 players that should be part of Arteta's squad that can get him what he wants, but he's the weak in certain areas, right? Midfield, I think we've already seen what happens when we lose the midfield, and when we lose one, it dips, and when we lose both, we're done. So he's going to have to manage his players in certain areas of the pitch so that they can last for 17 matches, right? So, yeah. I mean, he's got to get something out of Sambi, I believe, and something out of Elneny when he comes back. Maybe Elneny will score the winner today.
I'd say still 0-0, isn't it, with Senegal?
Yeah, still
60-something minutes, 0-0 still.
Yeah, still 0-0 at 60 minutes. December. I don't know if I said Wenger wasn't a very good coach. Arteta is. Can you tell me one player Arteta's improved? I don't think I said Wenger wasn't a very good coach. I mean, I'd be happy to be proven wrong, but I don't think I said that. Sam Chigwell is better known for better things, I'm sure. Mayer's already Arteta out, so I really don't know if I should ask, but I should ask you, Maher.
Ask me.
At what point should Arteta be fired? What's your line for him in terms of achieving the league position?
He should be gone tomorrow. You should get out tonight. Get out. Go read a book. Go away. Go read some books.
All right, Matt.
Coaching for dummies.
Can I tell you guys something? We are finishing 10th. You can put money on it. I'm not a betting man. Betting in my religion is not allowed. We are finishing 10th. You heard it here first.
You can have friendly bets, right?
You know what? If we're like the last month of the season, or like the last 4 or 5 games of the season, and we're not sitting in top 6, that's not going to be good. I mean, we could make a run and do it, but I don't. We should be.
Not going to do it.
We should be top 6.
Why not? Sentiment said he would like Arsenal play UEFA Champions League again. We all would. I want to know from you why not Sentiment if you want that next season. There is an argument, and I want to be in the Champions League next season, but there's an argument out there that says we are not ready for Champions League, and I don't want to be. They don't want to be. Certain Arsenal fans don't want to be in the Champions League if we're not ready for it.
I think it's going to backfire when we get into Champions League right now. I believe it will backfire, and we'll set ourselves back another 3 to 5 years, and then we're like, damn it, you know. And other people think, you know what, we could get in Champions League, we could get all these players. We got 6 in the last one, and we're still, and now we're talking about we need to have proper depth, right? We need to have a Jota coming off the bench to compete if we want to, you know. That's what people are looking for. We're nowhere there. So for me, if we don't get it, I'm fine with it because I think if this is a plan to get us back to top of the tables and competing in cups, I don't think you can just skip the line, you know. And I'm not saying I wouldn't be happy if we do it, but I just, you know, we're going to be screaming at ourselves later on when we're basically struggling in everything that we have to play with no depth. So,
Tony,
you know.
Was the Spurs team that played in the Champions League final any better than
brings
us?
this up. Tony's got a Rolodex of quotes. This is on it.
Were they any better than us?
The Assemble. I will watch it back. Again. Listen, if I said Wenger was not a good coach, then of course
nobody answered my fucking question.
Tony's talking. People
don't make him put his
listening.
leather jacket on, Gary. Don't make him get the leather.
I know. You know what? I'm sorry, Tony. I am sorry. We don't need. Nobody needs that. All right, keep the shirt on. Do not go get the leather, please.
What was the question?
If
it was about
the Spurs team that was in the Champions League final, were they any better than us?
No, we covered this ground already.
Yeah, but we're sitting here talking about being in Champions League or not. They weren't any better than us and got to the fucking final. They rode their luck. Champions League is a lot about luck. It's who you draw. We kept drawing fucking Barcelona and Bayern every year.
You know what? Why are we even comparing ourselves to that squad? Please, let's not do that anymore.
Memory lane. It's memory lane.
You know what? When you bring them up, that's not. No, we don't strive to be like them, right? Anything that they've done in the past, I don't want to do any of that stuff. What have they done that you want to follow their lead?
Get to the quarterfinals and then take it from there.
You want to be that? You want to be them? Is that what you're saying?
No,
I don't want to follow their lead. I believe everybody wants to follow the lead of like a City and a Liverpool. All right, they don't want to follow the lead of that team. All right.
Which team? The Spurs team.
That team. That's all I'm going to say. I don't say their name.
No one ever wants to follow the lead of a Spurs team.
Nope. I'm not going to even say their name. They don't deserve it. I'm not saying
that's not a benchmark. That's not a benchmark.
The team that shall not be named.
Not here. Why not Sentiment ask this question? And then it does beg the question about Aubameyang. Was he more effective from the left or was he more effective through the middle? I'll read it out first for you. Alba Downs Tools, fictitious story. All he did was track back a left wing back, following instructions instead of being up front. And did it look like Alba was getting game time? No. But
he didn't get more game time. He's starting every fucking game for the last 18 months. Yeah.
Was he more effective from the left? Tony or Mahir?
No. Don't put him on the left. He is predominantly
Aubameyang was better from the left, wasn't he?
The team was better.
I don't think so.
We scored more goals when he was on the left. We won more games when he was on the left. Last year at Dortmund, played him where? On the left. He's not an out and out striker. Never has been. Never will be. We tried him for the last 16 months there, and that didn't work. Arteta tried to force the system all last year. That's why we finished 8th. Lacazette would come in, score 3 goals, got benched for 3 games. Would come back in, score goals, get benched, and put Uba in the middle. Uba does not work down the middle.
He wasn't working anywhere. Let's face it. I mean, do you know what? We've had so much talk about Aubameyang. Frankly, I couldn't give a shit about him anymore. He's left. Honestly, I've
Tell
got
us
to the
what you
point
really
where
think.
no. But do you know what? I've got to the point with Aubameyang where, do you know what? Thank you very much. You scored a load of goals in your first couple of seasons. You went downhill. You stopped scoring goals. You acted like a child. You got booted out of the club. You moved to Barcelona. Good luck to you. Bye. See you later. Let's move on. I'm honestly, I'm fed up with him. He had a crappy attitude. He wasn't scoring goals. He got lazy and complacent. He thought he was a maverick who didn't have to abide by the rules. See you later. You're on 300 grand a week, mate. If you can't bang in goals and miss from 2 yards out, then you're not good enough. You're 32 years old. We've said goodbye. Let's move on. You know, we got. Do you know what?
And everybody in the chat, that's what I told Matt to say. So you can like me more now.
Do you know what? Just you know,
That
he's
wasn't
gone to
from me.
Barcelona. Good luck to him. Whatever.
That wasn't
Gary
from
said
me,
he would
everybody.
DM
That was
and tell me
Gary
what to
said
say.
that one.
What did I say?
I
He
didn't
said he
read
would
that
DM
line.
to tell him what to say.
Oh, no, I was just trying to get some of his fandom. That's all.
Yeah.
Gary's jealous.
Better to be where I am, Gary.
Is it?
No,
Is
no,
it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Do people want to follow your lead too, Ray?
Let's follow Gary's Ray and be on 20 fucking Arsenal fan podcasts.
I'm not that. No.
24. Bob,
No, I definitely agree. We're gonna have to move on, but
We
this
should
is
have moved on
yeah.
2 years ago. He should have never been given a contract.
A lot of people should have been gone 2 years ago. A lot.
We are
Let's,
cutting the deadwood out of this club, and I'm very glad about it. It's as simple as they're not good enough. They needed to move. They weren't playing. They weren't getting games. All we needed to do, that's fine. We just needed to keep enough of them to actually have a squad to finish the season.
That's the problem, though. We've
that's the issue.
Players go on loan or sold them and never brought anybody back to.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big problem that we're either 100% one way or 100% the other. There's almost no common sense to say in the middle and go, whoa, okay, let's get rid of everybody, but let's not just go and sell everybody because we got no squad left. Let's at least keep 2 players back so that we can actually cover key positions, and then we'll get rid of those in the summer. You know, it's just a little bit of common sense would have been good. You know, that's all it is. I think it's just a bit of a lack of common sense. I think someone else made the comment in the comments section about, you know, I think it was Sam actually, about us making a loss on players. I think the Highbury Squad podcast last week covered this off really nicely, and they brought up a whole list of players who we've sold in the last couple of years and how much we brought them in for. I mean, some of those. I mean, I think some of those are club will amortize, so obviously you'll have they're an asset at the end of the day, so they will depreciate, and you're going to naturally allow for some loss on those sales. But the fact is, we have let significantly expensive incomings go out for nothing.
Yeah,
and I think that is something that is a big problem with our operating, our was it opus memoranda or whatever it is, our way of operating. You can't sustain that. You know, you can't say
Matt, well said. Whatever Stan said, I agree.
I've got you in my right ear.
Yes.
Wait a second, I thought I was in there. Come on,
you're in my left, Gary. You're in my left.
The sales that we're making this year, not that they're sales, but is the mistakes that we've been making 3, 4, 5 years ago, and hopefully we're starting to not make as many mistakes, that in the next 3, 4 years we do start selling better. And you know, there's going to be some pain to some of the players if we have to sell some of the players. There's going to be some pain, and we have attachments to players. We don't want to admit to it, but we do have attachments to players. You know. Is this the Senegal Egypt watch along? Kind of, sort of. We're keeping an eye on it, but we're definitely not going play by play here. So, Gary, let's round out this culture club versus social club. I believe you want it to be the culture club, that we set the right culture, but there's always going to be nuances to that, Gary, right?
Yeah, we might all agree on the culture change, but we're not going to agree on the approach that's taking. place right now, and it's taking place in the past. So yeah. Culture has to change, and I think Ramsdale basically epitomizes what we're looking for, right? We want that kind of a player, and he's been able to back up his actions. Even when he's going off with the fans, the opponents' fans, he still is able to do his thing. He's still not there yet, right? I think he's still got a ways to go, but I think hopefully he'll get there. And when we bring in the next goalkeeper, maybe that will push him a little bit more, right? So yeah, no, culture change definitely. I think everybody wants that because they don't like the way the players are responding and reacting to certain things, and so yeah.
And I don't believe we should talk about Arteta anymore as a rookie. He's been in the job for 2.5 years. I think he's learned a lot.
I don't. But no.
He's a fucking.
There's no way you can say
like
a 2-year manager is anywhere close to like a 5-year manager who's actually worked his way up from like second league to top league.
If you want to offer me $500 or pounds rather than 250, I'll take 500 more than 250 because that'll get me a little bit further. I'll have more experiences with 500 pounds than I will have with 250.
But he's not learning anything. He's just by holding on.
Donate it to my leg.
Donate it to Tony's leg right down there. Tony's left pin or right pin. But anyway,
left pin.
Tony, Culture Club, right?
Well, that's why I wanted somebody like Simone or Vieira. But to me, Arteta really hasn't changed the culture that much. He's just got this weird, inconsistent discipline.
You can't say that he hasn't moved bad players on and brought good players in. You can't deny that.
Did he bring them in, or did they do pick for good players? We got William, you got Luis, you got Mari 4 years.
The mechanics of moving bad players out and bringing good players in to have a better dressing room is moving along, Tony, right?
Maybe. We have no depth. We haven't brought any players to reinforce.
Dan, can you put some earphones on so Stan can feed you some lines?
Do you know what? I was just thinking about this.
Tony's going rogue.
You said obviously it's about the Culture Club. I was just thinking, Boy George. I was just thinking actually the subtitle of this podcast should have been Arteta. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry?
You know what? He's making a lot of people cry. Yeah.
I came up with the title yesterday, Culture Club versus Culture Club, because
chameleon. We don't know what we're getting. Keeps changing on us. And you know what? And that's kind of how we've changed, right? Look at all his windows. There's always been a different plan every time. Nothing looks consistent. You don't know which one you're going to get. The first one we were going to go old, and then the January window we looked like we brought in some depth. The next window we went young again, and we replaced a lot. We got a lot of starters. This previous window, voila, everybody gone. Everybody leaves. Everybody gets a ticket out, and nobody comes in. I mean, all 4 windows, nothing to where I go, all right, we brought in some players and we got up and let out some
academy player. Come on.
What?
We did sign one academy player.
What? Say it again, just because I want to hear you say it again. No, see, it doesn't make sense to say it again. It doesn't make sense to say it again. That's nobody talks about the academy players they're bringing in when they talk about a window. That's just not unless it's like Leo Messi's son or something like that. That's the only time that you bring that up. But nah.
Okay, that's the Culture Club. I think we are. I think anyway we are slowly changing the culture of the club. We're bringing players in, and we are bringing good players in and bad players out. And that's how it happens, Tony. Sorry. You're out.
And as Tony said, we did not do that this past window. It's got to be an and. It can't be an or.
Gary, Tony's speechless for once, which is a good thing. No, it's not.
I'm not speechless.
I was just saying, I think he's just on mute.
I know he's just like.
Okay, we missed the FA Cup, but there's been some good stories this weekend.
What is the FA Cup?
I'm going to just
What are you talking? What is FA
It doesn't
Cup,
matter. It doesn't
EPL?
matter. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. We never wanted to win that anyway. We've won it so many times. You don't need to worry
We can
about
spend 5 minutes on the romance of the FA Cup. So West Ham almost went out yesterday. Chelsea almost went out. Kidderminster and who was the other team? Plymouth, I think, pushed both of those teams into extra time. Middlesbrough beat Manchester United. We can take a moment to laugh about that, right? And Forest have beaten Leicester 4-1. There you go, Gary.
That one
Oh,
didn't seem so bad now, does
the
it?
Forest Leicester City match basically just upsets me. So
Why?
Because why are we not playing in that match?
Oh, yeah. True.
You know? So it's really just we held them to 1 goal, right? Leicester City's had probably a week or 2 to get ready for this match and gave up 4. I don't know if they have COVID issues or whatnot, but didn't they bring in some players or no? I can't remember what they did, but
Leicester, I don't think they did. Really said it's American culture and sports to normalize losses on player contracts and letting them go for free. Yeah, and maybe somebody has to tell the Cronkies to that's not how it works, really. You know.
Well, and that's the problem. Like, who at the club is going, this is not good. This is not good. What we just did this window, not good. Somebody should be upset. That this is where at least Arteta should be saying, letting Aubameyang go isn't really the plan that we have going for the future. It's just something we had to do right now. Right?
Great backdrop, by the way, Gary.
Yeah. Is this behind me, this thing?
Gary's brand forming.
I like this picture because it's like a night at Highbury, right? I just like it. Yeah, and I think it's from 71? I think it's from 71, so the year of my birth. So
and Ray's birth.
Mine, me too.
Yeah. You know what?
That's so true.
You know what, Mark? They hate us. They hate us,
Exactly,
Mark. That's why they hate us.
It's the same with you. Give any situation where there's any negativity. If it's Arsenal, it's all over the back pages. It's all over Twitter. Everybody's ripping us to shreds. Everyone is tearing holes in every aspect of the club. As soon as it's United, as soon as it's Chelsea, as soon as it's Liverpool, nothing. Zero. Silence. Absolutely nothing. It's just, it is, that's what we're used to.
Really,
stop the rest of them.
Fair play to Middlesbrough. They went and played really well. They hung in. Manchester United didn't take their chances. Yeah. And when it comes to penalties, they were stone cold. Killers.
And you know what? And it's sad that a 19-year-old is the one that is the last gets that kick, right? I mean, you see the
I had some Saka flashbacks there, guys. I thought a couple of players looked scared when they came up to take their kicks, but obviously they went ahead and scored. I was thinking Bruno Fernandes was going to be the one. Yeah. The pressure was on him, but a good kick from him as well. Bruno Fernandes kind of stutter, and then he hit it with his left leg or some weird thing. I know they hate us, so I was just pointing it out.
But you know what? This is the FA Cup. This is any cup. This is why the underdogs. You can never really bet against them. Cup game. That's the magic and the that's the enjoyment you get out of the FA Cup and the domestic cups, because it's a giant killings. Everyone loves a giant killing, and it does happen. We've gone out a number of times in early stages. So have United and the Chelseas and the Liverpools. That's part and parcel. So yeah, it's frustrating that we went out earlier, but then United have gone out as well, and like you say, there won't be as much uproar about that. But it is what it is. It's a cup competition. It happens.
Wait till Gary Neville becomes the Prime Minister.
God.
It would appear that Wreck-It Ralph is carrying on where all they left off. In some ways, not doing as good a job. And
that's true.
I think I saw Ryan over at Mr. Arsenal podcast talking about Pochettino and his position at PSG is becoming a little bit more difficult. So, would United go and get Poch? And would they?
I think they would. Because weren't they interested in him before? I'm sure there was talks of him when he was doing well at Spurs. They were going to look at him, weren't they, as a replacement? And it never quite happened. So it wouldn't surprise me if that did happen and they eventually got him.
Does that mean Ten Hag is not going anywhere? He's not leaving anyways. The league he's in, he's just going to move up the table essentially. Is that what we're thinking?
You would have to think that he would like to try his hand outside of the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
You would have to think he would want to get onto the bigger stage. Where that's going to be, we don't know. It could be Germany, which might be a fit for him. It could be Italy. It could be maybe not Spain, maybe France or England. You know?
Everybody's looking forward to that Poch and the United pairing. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with you, Sembled. I think actually it would be quite a good pairing. You know, I think I'd be more concerned about them as a team on the rise again under his management. I think he would do a good job there.
Stan says Ten Hag will go to PSG and Poch will go to Man United, I think. To round up this FA weekend, before we get on to the Premier League and previewing Wolves on Thursday, Gary, we've seen Liverpool. Liverpool's where we want to be. We want to get our squad into a certain shape that you can bring in reinforcements from a position of strength. And we saw Luis Diaz come on for Liverpool in a position of strength and play well for Liverpool. So this is kind of where Arsenal need to be in the next couple of years. Have a good enough squad that you can compete on 2 or 3 fronts and actually bring good players in January and the summer to give you more reinforcements from a position of strength.
Yeah, and that's what we're supposed to have shown this season, and we're not doing it, right? So now we have nothing else to play for in terms of cups and whatnot. So once again, we've got to be narrow focused on what we're about to do, and hopefully we'll see it work out. But so far, for me, the past hasn't shown me that it's going to work out. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but I haven't seen anything in the past that's going to lead me to believe that this is going to happen and we're going to get where we want to be, because we've had chances and we kind of let things slide. So yeah, and Wolves, right? Wolves is playing. It was playing well going into this break. Was playing well this year, you know. So I think they have a better squad in the sense of how they're being utilized. I believe we've got more talent than them, but that doesn't mean much if you don't play. We're not able to play to those strengths. So yeah.
They've won four of their last 5 games.
Yeah,
and they're only 2 points behind us.
Yeah, so this is
the same number of games played. So it's.
And Arteta has shown under pressure he struggles. He struggles when he has to come out and do. He has to get a win out of this. There's no doubt about it. He has to. There's no a draw isn't going to work because we had a draw against Burnley, and to me that's a loss. In the sense of where we want to be, we have to get. We can't be drawing to Burnley and then drawing to Wolves and think that's a good thing. I don't think it is. We can a win out of one of those 2 games.
Don't forget Tottenham are only they're on the same number of points, but a game in hand as well behind us.
Yeah.
Yep. So we could be dropping down to 7th quite easily, and then it's slippery slope, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this season it's going to be like that between 4th and 7th for quite a bit, but I'd rather be at the upper end of that, obviously, than the lower end. Why not? Sentiment is correct. A 12-pointer because we're going to play Wolves at the end of this month as well as on Thursday night. I do think, though, Tony, that the break might actually have helped us and might actually slow Wolves down a little bit. You get into a roll, you get into a rhythm, and the break comes, and we saw Wolves against Norwich City yesterday. They didn't get the win that they needed.
Yeah, they've been one of the hottest teams. They haven't been losing much lately. They were 14th or 15th in the table, been moving steadily up. I was worried about both the games we have this month with them, still worried about it. You never know what's happening with cup competition. they'll probably be ready for this weekend or Thursday, I guess.
We're gonna preview the Wolves game a little bit further, but let's just get into some of the Premier League games this coming week. And none of us, I don't expect any of us to really have picked or honed in on our upset choices right now. But let's get into it. Stay with you, Tony. Probably the crap game of the day is on Tuesday. Newcastle versus Everton, Tony.
Who gives a fuck game of the week?
It's a thing now, Gary. It's a thing.
It's been a thing for like a year, right? Fuck it, I'll pick Newcastle's at home. They got a bunch of new players. I'll pick Newcastle.
Tony reminded me of the MGM line when he was yawning at the start of the movies. Newcastle 19th place, and maybe
I picked Newcastle, Ray.
We won't be able to talk about Newcastle in the coming months as being in 19th place. Maybe they're going to make the big move now, Gary. They're going to be.
Hey, Ray, I picked Newcastle in case you come back.
I heard you.
Yeah.
Newcastle, Everton, Gary.
Yeah, it's a home game for Newcastle. So I'm going to go with them. Yeah, they're going to get something out of that game. So, yeah.
We're going to see what Bruno Guimaraes is like. We're going to see what all of the other.
Chris Wood, they have a couple of players. They put in 4 players, right?
That Brighton player.
Yeah, so no, it might take them some time to get better, or they might just plug and play some of the players to come in. So I'm going to go Newcastle on that one.
And Matt, I think Newcastle will take care of Everton. Actually, now I'm saying that Everton may be revitalized a little bit by Frank Lampard.
It's going to be interesting that one because they both.
Frank, he got us 4-1 victory yesterday.
Both new players, interesting that game, I think. They're not too far apart, are they, in the league, really? So it'd be interesting to see what kind of bounce they get and what happens there. So, yeah, for me, that game could go either way, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Could go either way.
That's why I'm going to give it to the home crowd. Yeah.
All right, real quick, in summary, what are your non-negotiables for Arteta? My one non-negotiable is William Saliba. What happens with his future? If he doesn't have a future with Arsenal, if he gets sold, that's it. I'm done with Arteta. And that's the line I won't cross. Gary?
Well, he's got to finish. And
has to be something specific.
That's a good one there. If that's the case, if you're going to say he has to finish top 5 then, right? If he doesn't finish top 5, then he's gone.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Matt?
I think
Matt, you have an opportunity to be harsh here. Well, you're on record as well.
No, for me, it's like I said. I think he has to finish 6th. Absolutely has to finish 6th, and absolutely no lower than that. The Saliba situation for me, I would. It's not. I wouldn't say go as far as saying it's a non-negotiable, but it would certainly go a long way to really make me think I'm not sure that he's the right man for the job long term because of how he's managing that situation. I think at the moment I see it that he's put him out on loan to make him a better player to come back and improve the squad. If he's doing it to sell him on at a profit, no, that doesn't fit for me. I think 6th place is really key for me. I think to me there's 2 things that need to happen for me to kind of stick with this. One is 6th place at the end of this season as a bare minimum. And the second is to spend really good, solid money investing in key areas of the squad with quality and experience and a bit of stardust, because that's what they promised. That's what they said they were going to do. Yeah. And that's what they need to do. So, they did say in that Edu interview, we'll lay the foundations, which is what they've done. They've supposedly this January not invested in silly short-term solutions, and they're going to, to save that money. They now need to put their money where their mouth is and actually go and spend that money in the summer on getting really top quality, centre midfielders, strikers, and go all out. If we don't achieve 6th and we don't go and do that at the same time, that's me done. That's me done with that project, I think.
Okay,
because
cool.
they're not doing what they said they wanted to do.
Yeah.
You can't send out your highest scoring striker, and then pay him to go. And then Saliba, who is your player, you don't necessarily have to give him a raise. You know what I mean? As far as spending more money on at least a really good backup center back. And then if you were to sell him, you're basically just what are you doing? What are you doing? We've thrown so much money out the window, and this is an opportunity to solidify what we consider depth in a really crucial position for us.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't, you can't go out and spend another 30, 40 on a center back. You can't.
No.
You can't. I mean, every window, every summer window, we've bought center backs, right? You can't do that anymore. At some point, please. And right? 0 strikers have been brought in by this squad.
We need to buy a striker.
We don't score
as well.
How in the world does that make any sense? You don't score and you don't bring in strikers. You don't bring in really good attacking players, right? We haven't brought in any that have worked out for us, right? I mean, we need to score.
Yeah.
We need to score. We've got
can't win games if you're not putting the ball in the back of the net.
Mahir said, "I hate losing, but if we constantly get kicked in our teeth, we can get a proper manager that knows what bloody will do." Mahir, I would just say it's out of our control. We're all I will personally want is Arsenal to keep winning, and there is a section of fans out there who will want the team to lose just to get a new manager. Who's to say we get another manager that we are going to improve, though? Ole's gone. Rangnick is in. You can't say that Manchester United are a better team now than they were under Ole,
But we're not good. We didn't. Nobody. I don't think anybody was looking at Ragnar as a. They thought he was a stopgap, and right now it's looking like he could potentially be their future manager. But he was supposed to be a stopgap.
He was given the job, Gary, that if he would do well with it, he could still have the job next season.
But I mean, when you've got option, you got a plan B, right? Then are you going to give it as much effort, and does it really matter?
Yeah, if you get the opportunity to manage Arsenal, aren't you going to do the best job you could?
If that was the case, then we would see something. We're not seeing it, right? So obviously, no. I mean, everybody believes that United. Once again, we're in that same situation, right? United has a really good set of players. They just don't have a manager. There's the same thing we saw with Chelsea. They went out and they got what many would consider a really good manager. Ragnar was not considered a really good manager for what they needed. It wasn't going to be a step up like what a Tuchel coming in, right? I don't think you compare the two. Like they bring something different to the game. One is not considered a really good manager compared to a Tuchel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they got what they got, right? And so they're no better for it. They need to go out there and get a manager. There just wasn't one. So, yeah.
Samuel said, Antonio, I'm coming to you next. What's your non-negotiable?
I have two of them, actually. I'll start with one that people aren't talking about. One player is on $20,000 a week. The other one's on $30,000 a week. That'd be Smith Rowe and Saka. I think we need to get top four, give them guys pay raises. I think if we get in Europa and finish in Europa again next year, those two players are going to be getting sold. Go bye-bye. But to me, it's top four. It's keeping your youth. We haven't integrated the academy players. We're not to do that to fill in some of this lack of depth we have, besides just signing players. Arteta seems to refuse to play the academy players. Wasted Balogun season last year, should have sent him out on loan. Now he's out on loan. Lost a year of his career. Just to me, it's believing in the youth, playing in the youth. He hasn't did that. It's getting them to the top four. There are no excuses for it. We're out of all the cups. All we have to do is focus on the league,
Then we shit on the bed and then bring any players in. Got rid of one player that could play multiple positions. So
You
I
said
don't know.
you said a lot of things there, Tony, but I do believe you may be right. And one thing that's going to be hard for Arsenal fans to stomach is possibly ballasting the books by selling one of our young players, and we don't want to see that. I don't. I don't want to see that. I don't think the club should be building, and the money was there last summer. I do believe there's going to be more money this summer to build the team up. But somehow, Arteta has Kroenke's ear. Somehow, he's getting money.
Secret sex tape, Ray.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what Mark's saying there, but I think people thought Tuchel was definitely a step up for Chelsea when he
I
came.
don't think he was going to get sacked. If he lost to Spurs that last league game, I don't think he was going to get sacked. It would have been bad, but I don't think he was going to get sacked. Not like Alec Ferguson in the FA Cup run sacked way back in the late 80s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking something else then. Yeah.
Stan, if they win the finals, Arsenal don't buy proven winners. Okay, so listen, the assembled, we covered that. Our non-negotiables are out there. Mine is Saliba, and Tony brought two to the table. Let's get back really quickly. We're going to drop a backstage pass as well for anyone who wants to come back and say hello after the lights go out, after the music dies down on the outro. West Ham versus Watford, Matt. 5th versus 18th. Roy Hodgson struggling a little bit to get results.
Yeah, it's they've kind of wheeled him out of retirement, haven't they?
He's never been
Please
relegated.
come and save us. Come and save us.
He's never been relegated.
To be honest, I think it's a fairly wise appointment. I think there's plenty of games left in the season as well at this point to try and turn things around. So, yeah, be interesting. He's a proven manager. He knows what he's doing. Like you say, he's been there, done it. He should be able to get a response from the team. He should be able to kind of solidify them enough to kind of keep them out of trouble. It could start. This could be the game to start. I'm not sure they have enough quality to kind of beat a West Ham, but I think they may put in a better shift and put in a better performance and make it a bit more difficult than they may have done a few weeks back. But I think they will see a bounce. I think they will see a little bit of a bounce.
Tony, West Ham, Watford. West Ham, we're going to have to hang in there for the top 4 fight.
And they've lost their last 2. Neither team's in good form. West Ham's at home, so I think it'd be a very narrow win.
Narrow win.
West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham are pretty good. West Ham win at home, Gary. I'll go along with that.
Yeah. I think West Ham will win at home. So.
Steve Denham, thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit.
Cheers, Steve.
I don't know if the
later,
AFCON is an entertaining 0-0 so far, but it is 0-0. That would tell me maybe it's not.
Oh, I had a chance, and a goalkeeper was able to get his fingertips on the ball.
It's going to penalties.
Yeah, it looks like it. 95th minute.
It's
still 0-0.
Do they go to penalties, or do they get 30 minutes?
Is it in extra time, or is it in added time in the 90 right it will go to extra time, and then penalties, I'm sure. Gary, Burnley at home to Manchester United. Interesting. A little tempter there for an upset.
Yeah. No.
And I'm not saying you gotta don't commit to it now. You don't have to commit to it now.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, as poor as United's been playing, I think. Oh man, I don't even know. Yeah, there's no way. I mean,
it's like you haven't watched football.
Yeah. No, I think
back on the bike.
I think United. Well, you know what? I think United after the last match will have a little sense of urgency in how they're playing. So, Ronaldo missing the PK, I think he's going to want to redeem himself. So I think Burnley might be in for a little bit of trouble. So yeah.
Mahir's just back to say, have a nice. And we'll see you all. And I
Good
couldn't
man,
even
Mahir. Good to see you, mate.
I couldn't do justice the way Mahir says it. So sorry, boardroom management team lack. Yeah, I think Burnley have a real good chance of upsetting Manchester United. Matt.
Yeah, the thing is, Burnley can be a difficult side. We know that. We didn't really do anything to go and win that game, did we? But I don't think they really offered much against us either. As United haven't been fantastic, but I still think they'll win that game. But Burnley away, they're not an easy side to play against. They make it difficult for you, but I still think United will at least nick that game. I can't see Burnley winning it myself.
Tony?
United.
There you go. Well, I like one more answers. Good. Tony, Norwich at home to Palace.
I think Palace wins.
Yeah, I think Palace wins too. Norwich have had that fill up about going through in the FA Cup. Gary?
Yeah, that one, I think.
Also, I might say Patrick Vieira won quite handily in the FA Cup yesterday. Would love to see Palace go all the way with Patrick Vieira. That's just...
like I said, I don't cheer for other teams because it comes back to haunt me.
In the FA Cup.
It don't matter. Nobody gets my love. I'm sorry. That's just the way I work.
How's it going to haunt you in the FA Cup?
No. Haunt me in the fact that they will play much better the next time we play them. That's what I mean.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether it's a cup or not because we don't. What's a cup again? I don't even know what that means.
They outplayed us for the first time, Gary.
Yeah.
And we have to go to Selhurst Park,
I'm
Tony.
just saying, I'm not cheering for them.
We still have to go to Selhurst Park, Tony.
Where, Gary? Where?
So I don't think Norwich City's going to get a win. Let's just say that. So.
Where do we play them at?
I don't
Selhurst
care.
Park, Matt.
It's away. Yeah, it's at Norwich, isn't it? Norwich are at home that game, I think, aren't they? I think Crystal Palace win that game. I think they've got a good quality in the squad. I don't think it will be a particularly thrilling game, but I think Crystal Palace might, again, probably nick it. Palace for me.
Stan thinks Wolves are weaker now they sold Traore, and I think there could be something to that. I think if we keep a clean sheet at Wolves, I don't think there'll be many goals, but we'll talk about that in a moment. I think Palace will beat Norwich. I like to see what Vieira is doing there, and because I actually think he could be an eventual Arsenal manager in the future, in a few years to come. But Tottenham, Southampton, Matt.
Tottenham, Southampton.
See,
that was good. I was going to pick that as my upset pick because there's kind of the biggest gap between the two. But I think Tottenham will win. My head says that Tottenham will win that game.
Yeah, Son had a burst of pace yesterday, which tells me he's coming back. So,
yeah, I think my head tells me that Spurs should win that fairly comfortably.
If we're talking about 6-pointers with Wolves, it's definite 6-pointer when we do have that rescheduled game with Tottenham. Tony, Tottenham.
Yes, Spurs should win. Southampton's been mixed lately. Spurs have been pretty steadily playing, so I think Spurs win.
Southampton, a difficult team, Gary, to pick. I'll go with a draw there. Southampton, Tottenham.
Yeah, I guess if we're doing upset picks, that's my upset pick because I don't like that team. So that's it.
And I will ask for verification later.
I gave it double, triple. Okay. That's my pick.
Are you sure, Gary? Are you really sure? Trying to make you second guess yourself there. Man City versus Brentford. They played each other a few weeks ago, and Man City played them off the park.
They're just too deep, right? They're just too deep. So just next.
Yeah.
We're going to give it all to City. Villa versus Leeds, Gary.
That one is.
Where's Mr. Tom?
I was
Mr.
going to
Tom
say, it's
tonight?
Mr. Tom in the chat.
I know exactly. That one is going to be. Wow.
It's gonna be a draw, Gary. Move on.
It's going to be a draw. All right. Tony said it's going to be a draw. So
Steven Gerrard. It's a big task for Steven Gerrard, I think.
Yeah.
Leeds, I think, are becoming a little bit. They're coming into form a little bit. I haven't seen their last. Not the way Tony.
Well, they've
watched
won
it.
2 in the last 5. Last 2 games lost. Villa won their last game, lost the 2 before that.
Yeah, they beat Everton.
They're both a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest with you, in terms of form. But I think Gerrard and that squad would have
a little bit more. They have a little bit more.
bit of an edge, yeah.
And we have a 7 or 8 point gap from ourselves to Villa. So.
And bear in mind, they've added this window as well, haven't they? Has Villa added this window?
Yeah, Coutinho.
Yeah.
And Digne from Everton.
Yeah.
The assembled, you're not
Traditionally.
far wrong. The assembled, these are the kind of games we do need to win. The competition around us, we need to pick up wins. Wolves twice, at least 4 points from Wolves, 2 games, and we have to beat Spurs.
until we get the win versus Wolves, we might have to win all of them. I would, I think we have to win all of them because I don't like the fact that we gave away points to Burnley. So, I mean,
And the last one before we actually talk about Wolves, Arsenal. Tony, Leicester upset Liverpool in the opposite fixture. Liverpool need to keep winning. It's Liverpool at home to Leicester.
It'd be an easy win for Liverpool this time.
Especially if the same Leicester team, Matt, turns up at Anfield.
Yeah.
And
you did go to me on villains versus.
No, we all agreed. We could bypass you.
It's a draw, Ray. Draw.
I don't think he's listening to you.
He went
He never listens to me during this.
That is true.
segment.
That is true.
Liverpool, Leicester, Gary.
Liverpool. Yeah, that's another next. I mean, they didn't get both of their targets, but they got, it wasn't as if they
Going underwater a little bit.
just added some more to, the pile, right? So
Gary's got his head above water now.
Don't see us beating Spurs away. Come on, Reddy. Where's the can-do attitude? Come on, Reddy.
well, you know what? It's got to. We got it. We'll know more when we see them play on Thursday whether or not.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think this break will have done us good. I'm hoping that, coming off the back of that pretty poor Burnley game, I think having a couple of weeks away, having a bit of a pause. Hi, Mr. Tom.
We were just talking about you, Mr.
We're
Tom.
just talking about you, yeah. Good to see you in.
We think
He heard us
Leeds,
talking about
we
it.
think you'll get a draw with Villa this coming weekend or midweek. Matt?
Yeah, no, just saying about obviously the Wolves game. I think we were pretty poor against Burnley. I think we needed a break. I think it will do us some good. Hopefully, it will kind of give us, we will go out, put in a decent performance. I can see us winning this game, to be honest. And because we're a team that's really, we're kind of hot and cold, really. We'll have a good run of games and then we'll stutter a bit, lose it or draw a couple, and then we'll start winning again. And that's what we're going to see. I think we've seen a couple of bang average performances. So I think we're due a good performance. I think it is away, isn't it, at Wolves, at the Molineux?
Yep.
So it'll be interesting because our away form hasn't been great. So I'm hoping to buck that trend after a couple of weeks away. I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to have a decent performance and go and win that game. So I'm backing us. I'm backing us to win it.
Cool. Tony?
I've been scared about these 2 fixtures against them for a while now.
Yes. You've been foreshadowing for a few weeks, yes.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking since we're playing there, this one will be a draw.
I think Gary maybe has pushed me into this, but it's my decision. Gary, we have to go and win at Wolves. If we're going to be anything this season. It's a fixture we have to go and win.
I mean, we got to stop the rot, right? We just had a really poor January. We haven't won a match in 2022. It has to stop now. I mean, we have to. At all costs, we need to win this one. He's going to have a really good plan set up for his team. We still don't even know if Tomiyasu is going to play.
He has to have plans, Gary. That's the problem. He only has a plan.
Yeah.
Singular.
Yeah, well, he's definitely going to have plans if Tomiyasu's not playing. So, whatever that means, he's going to have to, because that's a big hole. It's a big hole, and you know that means he's one more game from being ready to play. You know, to be back, right? The fact that he's not playing this one, he's going to be another game, and we have another 2 weeks until our next match or something
What's
like that.
his injury anyway? We've never heard what his injury is.
I thought it was I don't know what I don't know, but yeah, no, I mean, it's just a problem because we don't have depth, and you know, it's Cedric, right? And Cedric scares everybody, right? Cedric should scare us, right?
Or Bubba's
I
right.
don't know what happened to him, because I thought he started quite brightly with the club and he looked pretty decent, and then he just had a real dip in form and has not really kind of come back from that, has he?
Especially this season. He's looked very poor this season.
I really liked him when he joined the club, and I thought he played excellently. You know, but like I say, Tomiyasu by far is well and head and shoulders above him. Yeah, if Cedric can kind of get back to how he was playing when he started with us, it wouldn't be a bad option, and I could see why we'd stick with him in terms of a backup. But he just needs to get that level of performance back. Otherwise, I can see him being shifted as well in summer and getting another right back in as backup.
What is the match against Reading? What is that?
It's behind closed doors.
Oh, okay.
So
that already happened? Is that what we?
I'm gonna check now, but I hadn't heard anything about it, so I imagine it's not.
Didn't even know about that, to be honest. Actually,
It could be tomorrow.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, final thoughts, Gary. Thanks for joining. I here. Thanks for being here earlier as well, Gary.
Yeah, no, like I said, we gotta get a win on Thursday. That's all. I mean, that's it. You're gonna have to. I guess we're gonna have to get some goals from either Emil. I guess is Emil Rowe gonna even start? That's the big question, right? Does he start? Because Martinelli and Saka have been starting, and Erdegaard are pretty much part of that front four. You know, so Milsroof Rowe is going to have to come on and maybe hopefully play, get us the goal to either give us all 3 points or to save us from losing all 3. So, yeah, it's a big match for me because Arteta's had longer than enough to get this ready, and he shouldn't be surprised with whatever Wolves are going to do. I mean, I heard some people say that Adame being out might be a good sign, and some people think they're going to be playing better without him. So he looked good today, right? He put a nice cross in for a header. So what is this last thing before you go?
BWTT, don't worry, Arteta covered Tommy by selling Chambers to Villa. Matt Cedric apparently fell out with manager.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else, Tony? As we go out with some music.
I'm just ready for some football. Miss seeing this play for the last 2-3 weeks. Seems like an eternity since we played.
I've dropped the backstage pass in there for anyone who wants to join us after we turn off the lights here. We had one.
Post it up there again, Ray.
We had one person. It'd be great if 2 or 3 of you would come in here to say hello. Have a little
jump in, say hello, smash the likes and hit subscribe, guys. Do it.
Post it.
If you haven't already, do it.
Ray.
What's that, Tony?
Said post the link again.
Okay, we'll do again. And we are out of here. I'll drop the link in.
All right, see you guys.
Could do it just before.
See you on Thursday.
That's what happened last time.
We've got football again.
Yay! That's what I
Woohoo!
would.
Thursday we'll be talking about the Wolves game. Absolutely. Thanks everyone for watching. We are out of here. Take care.
Cheers, guys.